In this video, we'll be talking about what seed companies aren't telling you about planting nasturtium seeds and marigold seeds in order to get those germinated with high rates of success. I'm excited because today I'm going to put some seeds in a tray that I made the other day that I just have not had time to get to. And I've been meaning to, and it's been bothering me. I'd rather just get the seeds in so that they can do their work growing while I do work doing other stuff. So, first things first is I've got some marigolds that I want to plant. Now, last year I planted a ton of marigolds in my garden, and I loved it, and I planted them the year before. But they just get so big. I mean, they end up kind of being not really a bully, because I don't think that plants can be bullies, but just taking up more space than I wanted them to. So I'm excited this year to have the majority of my marigolds be petite marigolds. And so I've got some that I got from a $4 for $1 place, and then I've got some that I got from a seed swap. And this is the one that I'm more excited about. I like getting things from seed swaps. And then I am very excited about this one. So this one is not going to be, it's not going to be as big, hopefully, as some of the other ones that I've planted in the past. But if it is, that's okay, because it's just super cool and neat. So this one is, I don't know if you can see this. So this is Kilimanjaro white marigold. And I got this from Baker Creek Seeds. And this is like, I think they described it as like 30 years of trying to work with species and colors and stuff like that in order to get a white marigold, and this is the result, and I'm very excited to have that in my garden. So we've got the white marigold, and then we also have a couple of Cracker Jack marigolds, and I have had trouble in the past planting marigolds from seeds because of, I just didn't understand what marigolds want in order to grow really well. And so I had heard somewhere that they like to have dark in order to germinate. And so I tried that, and that probably did better than most of my other ones. And then other places I heard it said that they didn't want to be hardly under the ground at all, which is why marigolds tend to reseed themselves so well. So just kind of lay them on top of the soil. And that didn't work hardly at all. And so I figured out the right way to plant these, at least for me, that works really, really well. And so what I do, and I just got this from playing around, I looked it up online, and actually there's a few other people who do it this way too, and so I'm not crazy. But if you see, this is my Cracker Jack marigold. If you see marigolds, this is the seed, and it's got like this, can you see that? It's got like a white top, and then the black bottom is the actual seed. And so, it's so easy. All I do is I take it and I stick the black seed part straight down into the ground, and I have the white sticking out. That's all I do. So let me show you. Okay, so I have my seed here, and there's the little white top, and there's the little black seed part, and I'm just going to take it and poke it straight down into the soil, and there's the white part sticking up. I mean, it's that easy. I mean, how great is that? I did that last year, and it was just kind of like an accident because I had so many marigold seeds. When you do seed swaps, you're going to get marigold seeds because they're so easy to save. And so I laid out the seeds like I wanted to, with them just kind of being on the top of the soil. This is when I was trying the top of the soil situation, and barely covering and letting the light germinate it, which is not the way to do it, by the way. But I had spaces in between. I had so many seeds that I just kind of stuck them in like this, in between the seeds that I had planted. I don't know, I guess just to save space or something like that, or just to try or see. And anyway, it worked really well. And so I'm going to do a tray of the Cracker Jack. And this works so well that I'm only going to put 2 in each seed tray, because they're probably going to germinate. Like, there's a really high successful germination rate with doing it this way. Okay, now I wanted to talk to you, now that I'm done planting my marigolds, about nasturtiums. Now, I got the tall trailing mix, and I am not going to let them climb. I'm going to have them trail along my garden beds, especially in between my cabbages and my Brussels sprouts and stuff like that. Broccoli, all those. Okay, so sometimes people have trouble getting these to sprout or to germinate, just like sometimes people have trouble with geraniums. Not geraniums. Marigolds. Oh, for goodness sakes. Why am I saying geraniums? Okay, so let me show you the trick. And I'm looking on these, and it doesn't say to do this on the seed packet. Okay, so here I go. I've got my nasturtiums. Okay, so here we go. I open them up. I've got a couple of bush varieties too that I'm going to be growing, but I like the trailing mix because it's going to cover a lot of area and I don't have to plant too many plants. But here is a nasturtium seed. Can you see it? Maybe if I do this. Here are some nasturtium seeds. And they're thick and they're heavy. Oh, here it is. Okay. So they have a hard outer husk, shell, something. Anyway, they have a hard outer side to them. And in order for water to penetrate that and get into all those good things going on inside, I take my handy dandy sandpaper that I keep with me for seed germination purposes. I keep a piece of sandpaper in my seed pack boxes, and I just take it and I rub until you can see. Can you see that? You see the dark spot on it, and then I plant it. Done. Okay, so it's really difficult for water to get through this in order to start that germination period, in order to start that germination process. And so if you can, oh, that is not a good marigold seed. If marigold seeds bend when you push them into the soil, that's not a good seed. Don't use that one. Anyway, so the nasturtiums, in order to get them to germinate, the water has to get inside. And so sometimes seeds are usually suited best for the environments where they grow wild. And so oftentimes a hard seed coating like this would be for a seed or a plant that is in like a dry, deserty type area where the seed would just kind of like be blown along by the wind or water, if it was like by a creek bed or something like that, and it would be hitting rocks or sand, and it would, as it makes its way to its final resting spot, the outer shell would be worn away enough that water would be able to permeate it. Some seeds only germinate if you set them on fire, and they need like forest fires as a natural inoculant, I guess, in order to get them to be germinated. But whatever the habitat for these nasturtiums is, you need to kind of just take the seed and rub it across in order to get through that. Now, it's not a lot that you need to do it, and don't do it too much, otherwise you're going to destroy that tender inner seed process. But sometimes you can use like a knife and you can just kind of nick it, and a lot of times if I'm out in the garden and I have brought seeds with me and I forget my sandpaper, I'll just use my knife. that my husband so generously provides me with, because he is a knife nut. But I wonder if he buys knives and feels bad about buying so many knives, and so he gives some to me, or if he specifically looks for knives to buy me. I don't know. Okay, but yeah, you just take this sandpaper and rub it. Oh, didn't get through. There we go. Now I can see that little black inner side. Okay, so use a knife to nick through it, or just rub it on sandpaper. But I've noticed that when I do this with my nasturtium seeds, I get a very high germination rate. And when I don't do this with my nasturtium seeds, I get a very low germination rate. So that just goes to show that this is a really good idea to do this. Okay, so I don't know why they don't tell you to do that on the seed packets. I mean, for goodness sakes. You'd think that that's something that's kind of important to tell you. And it would be kind of good if they told you about the marigolds too, but I mean, that one's a little bit more understandable. But I get some seeds from Strictly Medicinal Seeds, and they are so good about telling you exactly what you need to do in order to drop one of the seeds. Okay. They are so good about telling you exactly what you need to do in order to get those seeds germinated. And so I think I ordered so many herb seeds from them, of seeds that are notoriously difficult to germinate and get to grow. But I didn't have any trouble at all, because they did such a good job of telling me exactly what process has to happen in order to get those seeds to germinate. I mean, really, really well. Rico Check is the guy from Strictly Medicinal, and he's just fabulous. If I had my, the dinner with the 5 people to talk to, one would be Jesus, one would be, Martin Luther King Jr. or something like that. One of them would be Rico Check. I would absolutely have him at my dinner table to talk to about stuff. Anyway, so shout out to him for doing really great things. But I'm surprised that they don't say stuff like this on other seed packets, because this might be the reason why people are frustrated about starting their own seeds sometimes. And this might be the reason why some people feel like, oh, I just can't start seeds. I'm just no good at it. It might be stuff like this. If they just put this on the seed packet, you would have a really easy time. I'm not like a super green thumb person, but I'm doing it just because I pay attention to what the seed packets say. And then if I'm not getting good results, I research it, because there's something I'm not doing right. It's not me as a person giving off this energy that I can't start seeds. It is something that I'm doing that is wrong and that I can fix. And so I search stuff out. And so just don't feel frustrated if you started seeds before and they didn't germinate. It's not you as a person. Don't take it personally. Anyway, yeah, so that's important stuff. Such a beautiful day. I'm so glad that my kids are outside playing. And the birds. Okay, I'm not giving my kids a choice. They have to be outside playing right now, actually. They're not allowed to be inside. What the seed companies don't tell you about starting some of these seeds, specifically nasturtium and marigolds. Now, moving on, which apparently I need to do because I sat these in some wet stuff. But I'm going to be planting hollyhock, Queenie Lilac Rose. I'm so excited. I mean, are these just not the most romantic, beautiful flowers you've ever seen in your life? Oh, I'm so excited. And so these are also small, so compact stalks. They are a dwarf variety, and a lot of people would consider these an annual, depending on your zone. And so I'm going to plant all of them. And if I get seeds from them this year, yay, I'll save them and I'll plant them again next year. And if they overwinter, yay. But I should probably plant all of them or put them in a different container because they got wet. Sorry. Okay, so that's what I'm putting in my seed trays. I'm also going to be planting this lovely darling salvia queen mix. Apparently I'm in a queen kick because we've got the queenie lilac rose hollyhock, and then we've got the queen mix of the salvia. This is a perennial. This is a super hardy perennial. It gets bushy. It gets to be like 2 foot tall. I am very excited. It tolerates poor soil and it loves the sun. So I'm going to start these and I'm going to get them going, and then I'm going to put them out onto that awful wayside area between the lilac hill and my and there's like an access road there. And so I'm going to plant those there, and hopefully they'll spread. Hopefully they'll direct seed. That would be great. And then also I'm doing Gilia, I don't know. Anyway, Gilia globe. I direct seeded these up onto that wayside earlier last week, I think. And so the birds are getting Twitter-pated. He's singing me a song. So I direct seeded those because they are supposedly self-seeders and very good at that. And so I figured I could get away with planting a pack, just kind of spreading it, putting a little bit of dirt on top, packing it down. But just in case that didn't work, I'm going to plant some in my little seed trays right here. And then I've got one more thing that I wanted to plant today in my seed trays, and if I have a little bit more time, maybe a couple other things. I just found my Rutgers tomato seeds that I got from a seed exchange. Somehow they weren't with my other tomato seeds, so I got to get those planted. But I'm also going to be planting the Chinese python snake bean. I mean, look at that. They're kind of scary looking, aren't they? I mean, these things end up being... They grow up to 60 inches long. 60 inches long! And apparently they startle people sometimes because they look like snakes in the garden. And that just sounds like fun. But I'm going to plant a couple of those in the seed trays, and then I'm going to plant a couple direct seeded because I have never planted these before. And I'm not sure what they like best. And so I'm going to do both just to be sure. It's better safe than sorry when you're trying new things, especially if it's something that you're really invested in growing. And in fact, I'm even getting a new trellis just for these beans. And I'm also of the opinion that you can't really have too many trellises. So if it doesn't work out, I still got another trellis that I got now. And I'm not too worried about it. So that's exciting. But those are what's going in my tray today. I'll get those tomatoes into, and then I might try some amaranth seed. Although I found that amaranth does much better if you direct sow, and so I'm probably just going to end up putting that straight into the garden. We are supposed to get our last frost, according to the weatherman, whom he has fooled me before. But according to our weatherman, our last frost is supposed to be tomorrow night. And that's exciting because it's only like it's the middle of April, and so that is a couple of weeks before what our projected last frost date is. And so we'll see if that actually happens, but we're just moving into that time frame now where we're not having frosts anymore. So I'm gonna start putting my more hardy things out into the garden. So I've got a bunch of lavender that needs to go into the lavender hill. I'm gonna plant those. I've got some fennel and dill and stuff like that, and I'll put that out. And I've got some bushes. I've got to plant some seaberry. I've got 2 seaberry bushes. I got a male and female seaberry bush that I need to plant, and then I've got some serviceberry bushes. I've got 3 serviceberry bushes I got to plant too. So I keep talking to you and forgetting which cell I just planted my seeds in. Okay, I'm going to start paying attention to those. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you learned something. If you hadn't been doing that with your nasturtiums or your marigolds, I hope that this gave you the confidence that you need in order to try it again, because I know that there's so much frustration that comes with trying a seed, maybe even multiple years in a row, and just not getting a good result from it and just feeling like a failure. Like, man, I can't do this. I'm not good at this. And so I hope you learned something good, and will give you the confidence to go out and try them again if you had maybe given up on them. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I hope that you get a great chance to get out in the garden today, or at least plant some seeds, or maybe even just go smell some roses. If you like videos like this, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. And if you really love the videos that I put out, you're going to hit that notification bell and get notified as soon as we get new videos coming out almost on a daily basis. I hope you have a wonderful day and stay blessed.